Hi there everyone, MVS Cosplay here, and before we begin the show today, I just want to say thanks for tuning in to my channel, and if you want to support the show, feel free to go to my Ko-Fi link and donate there. With your donation, we will be able to improve the quality of the show with better audio, as well as better video capture, and even more things to come. Thanks everyone, and enjoy the show.
Let my thing catch up with us
Okay. I was like, wait, what happened?
every time.
Alrighty. Hello, everybody. This is Marvin, MVS Cosplay, and this is not Off the Runner, a Gundam and Gunpla podcast, but this is a new segment that I will be doing. I will be interviewing some cosplayers throughout the country, getting their their background and what they like about cosplay. And this part of my show is going to be called the Cosplay Sessions. So, and with me today is Armin. He is a well-known YouTuber within the comic book community, and his show is the Comic Book Cast.
Yeah. Honestly, I've been trying to get you on back for my show too. So I'm like, you know what? We could double down for this, which is always great to, share it and kind of talk about the same things we're into. You mentioned cosplay. I have a couple things. I just redid my display. I have the Captain America replica Winter Soldier, Daredevil. It's the characters I like. So I'm also into cosplay, go to visit children and all that as well, because it's always good to share the love of what we have with the community, I think. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So how have you been, man? It's been a while since the last time I talked to you.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I live up in the mountains, so it's always a lot of snow, which is unfortunate. Sometimes my internet's up and down, and I'm like trying to figure things out. Trying to keep up with shows is sometimes a nightmare, So it's like I get behind on things, but otherwise, it's always the same. I read a bunch of comics, play a bunch of video games, work out, and that's it. That's the three things I like. So if I do those, I'm good. uh,
Same.
yep.
Oh man. Alrighty. So let's see here. So what about since you're a cosplayer as well, when did you exactly start doing that?
Man, this is one of those things that goes back so far. The earliest I can remember would be like 2011 or 12, and it was like, man, gonna go to a con. I just need to be Mr. Fantastic, and that was my thing. Because people are always like, dude, you need to do Mr. Fantastic, especially if I grow out my like beard, because it gets like the perfect gray, and I have the side strip right here. And
Hmm.
always, if anybody ever knows Mr. Fantastic, they're like, you remind me of him. So like by default, I had to do him. So that was it. So about a decade ago, I got into it and just kind of evolved into making costumes and all that. I know yourself, like I saw what you do with the Spider-Man suits, and I
Oh
like
yeah.
I started like sweating seeing you do it. I'm like, because I know I would screw up because you're like, putting all the lines and dots on the suits and making them look, like they have tangible texture on them, and I'm just like, I could never do that. That is nuts. That's too much.
Dude, like when I first started, my first one was in 2017. I was puff painting the TASM 1 suit, and that thing has tons of detail. And it's
Yeah.
like I didn't have exactly any good reference material. I didn't even have the figure until I think a couple of years ago that I have. And it's like, okay, so his suit looks like he painted it himself. We saw him do the screen printing at home. And it's
Hmm.
like, okay, I got this. But I ended up painting every single square into that suit. And since it's covering the fabric, there was like no air going through. Like, I think I should have held back a little bit. And then
Yeah.
my second go around, I had much better reference material. So it's like, oh, okay. So there's actually a gap between the actual black web line to the red texture.
Hmm.
I was like, okay. But yeah.
It's honestly how far the cosplay community has come is something that's just completely like crazy. What back in the 2010s, 11s, 12s, if you were starting, it was a basic suit. Some people were next level, but now it's like even, if you want a basic printed suit from like a
Amazon.
yeah, Zentai suit, they'll sell you a good one for like under $100. You get it like, textured, you can get some of the rubbers on there. You're just like, oh my God, like they've truly like come to a next level where you can have a pretty good suit for cheap, which is honestly it's great. Like
Hmm.
I have a first Avenger Captain America replica, and it's one of the closest that you can get to the movie. And I put it together about 5 years ago, and that thing cost way too much. Like it was just like piecing it together, and I finally got the helmet for it. And the helmet, to be screen accurate, cost $800 because
Jeez.
they had to go and get the correct like World War II clip. And I was like, oh, how much is
Oh,
that going to cost? They're like, oh, that doesn't exist. We got to go find a legit one from World War II. So the guy takes like
wow.
half a year to do like a small build. And I was like, when he told me the price, I was like, I had to go talk to my wife. I was like, you know I'm insane, right? And you love me, so here's why I need extra money for. uh, so it's a passion, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Like I remember going back to what you said about like the Zentai stuff and Spider-Man. Like I remember when I started, it was like so difficult to get a suit alone. And it's like now it's everywhere. So let me see
I
here.
can't believe how easy access to it is. Honestly, it's changed.
Mhm.
You know, it's truly changed. Like, oh, you want to cosplay any assassins from Assassin's Creed? Type in the name and cosplay. There's 30 websites selling it for $150, and they don't look bad. Like, put a little mud on it, and you give it a little texture look. You look good. It's crazy, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like even for anime cosplay, I'm surprised with how the quality has gotten good with like stores like Spirit Halloween. If you
God,
go into their shop, there's I like to go there for some cheap props to get, but when you go in and see some things like, oh, we got Naruto's jacket, it's not a flimsy like sheer material. It's actually like an act like the hoodie material is so good you could wear it every day.
uh, I was gonna say like going to Spare Halloween because my wife she does like TikToks and stuff and does all that. Like I know you do TikToks as well in costume, so she does it as well. And she was like, "Oh, we're going to Spare Halloween. Are walking by and we see the Suicide Squad section. It legit, you can make a perfect Harley Quinn replica for like $150 and it looks straight out of the movie. The red
Mhm.
dress, the jacket with the things. I was like, there's no difference here. It's literally like the same thing. So it's like, yeah, it's really just come down to, and I think the cultural impact that the comic book movies, we love in anime too, and video games are so important now that you have to be at this level, right? It's like you can't be cheap anymore. It's just like
Mhm.
because somebody else is going to undercut you from China. I can order a Zentai, like accurate looking spandex for any character, and it's like $15 with shipping, from AliExpress or something. I'm like, sure, so you got to be competitive.
Yeah, and sometimes with that, it's such a gamble with things like AliExpress, because especially within the Spider-Man community, it's like, oh, they steal patterns, this, and this,
Hmm.
and then it's like sometimes I see some pictures of reviews and it's hilarious. Like sometimes, like when it's like, oh yeah, I got my suit and mask in, but when I put on my mask, the lenses are up here.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad.
Yeah, so it's like, you pay what you get for.
Uh-huh.
Get what you paid for, I guess. So going back to conventions and from 2020 until approximately the early summer of last year, there was no conventions. But then when conventions opened up late summer into even about just December of last year, have you gone to anything since the reopenings?
So we've gone to one. It's a more local one. It's only like a 3.5 hour drive, which again, I'm in the mountains, so 3.5 hours is local to us in another state. So we went and it was in like New Hampshire, like right at the bottom there. So it's nice. It's everybody we know goes there. It only gets a couple thousand people, so we knew it wasn't going to be big, or so we thought. And it was like the first convention back in the scene we're in. So we're like, okay, we're gonna go, we're gonna hang out, we'll do a little bit of partying. It actually had more people than before the con shut down because everybody's just ready for it, right?
Yeah,
So we went
exactly.
and like the energy was so good. It was so good to be in that place again after so long because like you got friends, everybody just loving their fan base and walking around and again like this was a convention where I finally got to meet Kevin Eastman who created the Ninja Turtles, my favorite like cartoon of all
Nice.
time, and like he was just so happy to be there and talk to fans and it was just like that experience. You're like, oh, this is why I love this, right? Like just seeing the fans and everybody so excited. And again, going to go to it again this year and just kind of enjoy it again. And I'm trying to find a couple more to go to, which I'm sure you are as well. But it's like, you got to pick and choose now because again, there's certain things happening, certain states, restrictions, whatever it is. So it's a slow rollout. In 2019, before all this went down, I went to 13 conventions, which is,
Jeez.
and I mean, we're talking like flew to Las Vegas, flew back home. That next weekend, we went to a casino convention. 2 weeks after that to Boston. A week after that to New York. So like I was burnt out. So it's like for me, 2020 was almost like a just take a break, man, which was I was glad to do, but
It
not
felt good.
right, but not under the circumstances we had,
Mhm.
So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, how's your convention life been though? Because that's like, because at any state, it can go so different.
Yeah, and well, since the reopenings in August here, and it's like, gosh, this is the worst time because it's here in California. It is like the hottest place in America at that time.
Yeah.
You walk out and then you like constantly combust.
Oh yeah, I
But
can't do that heat, man. That's nope.
yeah, so when you guys talk about snow, it's like, oh, I wish. But yeah, it was the first major convention that I went back to was in late August. I went on the last day because I can't really make Saturdays, and but
Mhm.
ooh, from the horror stories I heard, it's like, yeah, um, they're limiting capacity and stuff because of restrictions, and it's summertime, long line just to get in, people passing out in the sun. I'm like, oh God,
Yeah.
I'm glad I did not go on those days.
Yeah, yeah. I can't imagine something like that. That's why I'm like, I'm gonna pick and choose where I think I know because it's like I don't want to suffer through something like that. So like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh gosh. If you want to hear some funny or read on some horror stories, just wait till July and just Google Anime Expo and you'll see pictures of like it's at the what's it called? LA Convention Center right next to the Staples Center here in
Mhm.
LA. And it's like you could see memes and pictures of the line going wrapping around the entire convention center. I'm like, oh geez. I feel
That
bad for one day goers.
right? Yeah, no, that's man, I can't even imagine. It can get pretty out of hand, especially big conventions. I've been to New York Comic Con and stuff, and that's like even before everything, it was like, oh, it take 2.5 hours to get in. You're just like, as yeah, and you're sweating there in your costume or whatever, or hopefully you're wearing lycra, so when that wind hits you, it feels good. But sometimes, it can get pretty chilly out there in New
Mhm.
York in October. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just kind of playing everything by ear, kind of with everything, movies as well. Like I wasn't expecting Spider-Man to be as
Oh,
sold out as it was for 3 weekends straight. Like I entered a theater, I'm like, everyone's here. Okay. Like it's
even 1 month later, people are still there and like flocks to see Spidey.
yep.
Oh man.
It's been a ride. It's been a ride, that's for sure.
And speaking of events, so as you said, you do charity events. I do charity events as well. Do you, for those type of events, do you prefer cosplaying a certain character over others, specifically for hospital visits and seeing kids?
So if it was up to me, I'd be showing up as Daredevil, but I don't know what kid who's sick wants to see me with like bandage and I put blood all over my face and my mask. I don't think they want to see that. So I'll typically be like, okay, do you guys want a Superman? Do you guys want a Captain America? Pick which one you want out of these. I have a bunch of Spider-Man. We'll bring a Spider-Man team. But if so, I'll just go with whatever kind of is at my request, and I don't really care because I don't mind it. Oh, somebody likes Superman a lot. Sure, I'll do Superman. I got the Man of Steel outfit. I'm working on getting the Superman and Lois one because I love that one, like the Fleischner one, the
Mhm.
classic 40s. I want to really get that, and somebody's making a good pattern for that. So that'll be kind of a Superman outfit. But generally, just whatever's at request. I have my own preferences, but like, I don't know what kid's going to be like, who I really want to see? The Immortal Iron Fist.
Said
Yeah,
no one ever.
this said no one ever besides me, right? So I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't want to make, some kid be like, guess what? Superheroes are going to come to the hospital today. Are you a yellow Power Ranger, sir? No, no. You know, I'm working on a red Power Ranger outfit as well. So
Nice.
I'm excited to put that together because I know kids will recognize that. So that'll be a
Mhm.
fun one to send to whoever. Be like, you guys want a Red Ranger? Here you go. Oh,
Oh
it's
man.
awesome.
The charity group I'm with, there's so many people in the group that cosplay Spidey, and it's like that moment in the Hunger Games when they're gonna rush in to get their weapons and stuff just to be Spider-Man.
Right? Well, the good thing is now I've noticed kids know about the Spider-Verse. So like when we had a
Mhm.
couple of spiders, they're like, "Oh, which Spider-Verse character are you?" We're all like, "All right, now we don't have to worry about having multiple Spider-Men." So,
Yep, you can have multiple Peters in a room and it's
yep,
fine.
yep, and that's what's great about it, and especially with the whole, body thing, because like people always get upset, be like, "Oh, you shouldn't cosplay this because you don't have the body of this or that," and
Yeah.
I hated that always.
Mhm.
It was a thing, and now it's like people are so used to the whole term variant that it's just acceptable now. And I've seen
Thank you,
far less of
Loki.
that with everybody. Exactly with Loki. So it's like that's a good thing that I think the community has kind of accepted now as well. It's like it doesn't matter, as long as you're appropriate and as long as you're being sensitive to the culture and the history, it can be pulled off, to
Mhm.
certain degrees. There are certain things that are off limits that I would never personally do because it wouldn't make sense, but
Mhm.
generally, yeah, anybody can cosplay Spider-Man now, which is just that's Spider-Man in a nutshell. So you can't complain there,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, going back onto what you said regarding there's some characters that you can't do because of certain things. Like years ago when Civil War came out, I put together a Black Panther suit.
Hmm.
And then there was a charity event and our group's leader was like, "Hey, the kids want to get Black Panther. Our main Black Panther is on available. Do you want to do it? Because you have it." I'm like, "Sure." And then I realized when I got there, I'm like, "Oh, I can't take off my mask in front of these kids at all."
Yep.
And the thing is, they were so excited that they wouldn't leave me alone.
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Oh, geez."
Yeah, no, we've run into a scenario like that as well, where they're like, "Hey, do you guys have a Black Panther?" I'm like, "We have one, but he's out of state and he's occasionally occupied because he just had like a newborn." So we're like, "Look, one of us could borrow his costume, but I'd feel uncomfortable wearing a Black Panther costume, especially like you said. I can't take the mask off or anything, and I don't want to do that either because we legit have people who can be Black Panther, and
Mhm.
I'm always default Captain America or something. So it's like, you got to be smart about it and just, respectful. Like you
Mhm.
said, you're like, oh, I can't take off my mask now if I'm going to do this to make other kids happy, which is like, yeah, that's a whole thing, which is why I'm excited for Namor, because when he finally shows up, I can put together a Namor outfit and then kids will know who he is. So I'm like, it's my time now.
That's how I felt when Shang-Chi came out. I was like, "Yes, finally."
Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty, let's see here. So going on with character preference, do you have any essential items with things that you get that you absolutely love or get annoyed with? For example, having a face shelf or a Spider-Man mask, or like zipper placement on your suits.
Oh man, it's the Spider-Man face shell. Those things, man. Like, because if you have a good tight mask, it's
Hmm.
pressing it on your face, so it looks good, but like it can get
After
annoying.
10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things. Obviously, we both wear glasses. If I'm gonna do Daredevil, which I don't know which one, like this one right
You'll
here, for
literally be
example.
blind without it.
Right, like, this one has a little extra room because I got it slightly bigger. So I
Mhm.
actually have a second pair of lenses. I attach magnets to it and put little metals in here. So I just slap them
Nice.
on and I can actually fully see. So like this helmet really pays off for it, but like and typically like the heavy suits, Captain America suit, it's like 4 layers. You got the
Oof.
undershirt, the zipper, the overshirt, the coat with the pads, and then it all clicks together. So like by the time you put it on, you're like, oh, it's pretty hefty. And then your movement is slightly reduced. So it's like it is like that. And I commissioned my own Black Bolt suit, which is built the same way. And Black Bolt is a pretty hefty suit, the material I
Mhm.
picked. So like the suit itself is probably like 15 pounds when I put it on. So I'm like
Ooh.
standing there, I'm like, this thing is so heavy. So like I just stand like Black Bolt. I'm like, I'll just be silent and not complain.
You can't complain, Black Bolt, or you'll destroy everything.
Exactly. So it's good. I just stay in character and not say anything.
That's how
Uh,
I felt with my Aquaman suit when the whole suit was at first full pleather. It's like
yep.
it's heavy, but I can get there. My biggest gripe with that suit in general, and this was a general thing for some of my cosplays as well, including my Captain Marvel suit, zipper placement. It's
Hmm.
like And the thing is, they were all in the back, in the middle, and they
Yep.
were straight zippers. So it's like with my little T-Rex arms, I'm one of those people who can't really reach behind their
Hmm.
back fully, no matter which way I go.
Yeah.
So it's like for those, it's like, oh, it's so embarrassing at cons or events. Like, hey, can you do me a solid and pull down my zipper?
Yeah. Yep. That's why, like, occasionally I figured out if it's something like that and I'm gonna be doing it by myself, I'll have like a lanyard attachment. I'll just take the little lanyard off and it comes, with a long neck. So you can
Right.
attach it on there, just toss to your arm and kind of pull it up. And you're like, okay, I can put it on and off myself. I can get this on. But sometimes you're just like, yeah, I need help from this person. And it's like, all right, follow me to this bathroom. Nothing shady, I swear. I swear. I just got to zip up this Captain America suit because it's 3 layers and 2 zippers are on the back. So, it's, yeah, but, you do it because you got it, right?
Yeah. Oh man. And going back to things of the variants and the jab, do you think there is a potentiality of another shutdown per some states and other locations because of what's going on? I mean,
uh,
Super Bowl just happened yesterday, and then it's like, oh, it's a waiting game to see if anything does happen.
I honestly, I think we're so past the point of where we're at now. This thing's just going to be like endemic. It's permanent. Do your thing. And I don't think we're getting there again. At least the United States, I don't think we have to worry about much, And
Hopefully,
yeah,
because I've seen some events. Because one last month, this anime convention, it's pretty small and local, but it is getting up there in terms of popularity and size. They just they put out like, hey, you need to bring your card to show that you
yep.
get in, and then some people are just like, oh, I'm canceling my pass for this event, this, and it's like, well, they got your money. They're not going to be missing you.
Yep. Yep. And that's my thing. People are like, oh, if for the convention that we're gonna be having here in like September, I believe that's when the next one I'm going to. They're like, oh, we're gonna require and we're gonna make sure you have your main two and a booster. I'm like, cool. I look,
Mhm.
I'm cool. I've done much dumber things to get the jab, okay, in my life. Like, I I used to drink hardcore every weekend. I'm pretty sure that's done more damage than anything else will to me in my entire life. So I've had my parties. I've done like I just want to get back to normal. Whatever helps me get there quick so I can, get back to it. Like I love the environment of going, just interacting with people. Like, and I've told people this to my show. If I'm at a convention and you see me, make sure you go to the after party and hang out with me. Because if you're a fan of mine, oh, I get you smashed. It's on me. And the wife knows this. And I've gotten like 3 to 4 people one night. We just sit in a group and we just drink till we can't walk anymore. And that's fun to me. So I want to get back to that, and like sharing the
Mhm.
experience. So it's like, I don't think personally the country can even afford to do another shutdown again, right? Because that last
Yeah,
time it hurt us so bad. So like, I think we're safe.
definitely.
I would
Mhm.
assume, but again, I'm not a doctor or an expert. Quite clearly, I do a podcast for a living, so what do I know? But they're just me looking at it, going, "Think we're safe." I hope.
Here's the hoping. So, some events are set to go. For example, here in California, Star Wars Celebration is happening
Yeah.
here this time after almost 3 years of it not happening. And yet, there is no guest announcements yet. What are your thoughts on this for events happening? And do you think it'll lower excitement and anticipation for the event?
Having been to the last Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, that was my favorite experience at a convention of all time because it was just Star Wars fans everywhere. So
Mhm.
to me, that's one I want to get back to, and I think that's weird. Not announcing guests or big.
Yeah.
That's
And it's like in 3 months.
Yeah, that because last time, every other Star Wars celebration, like a year out, they're like, "Hey, it's happening." Also, here's 5 big celebrities. You're like,
Mhm.
"Okay, yeah, that's." I I wonder if that's a precaution or a safety net or something, because that would personally worry me. It's like, "Hey, you want to go to San Diego Comic Con? Okay, but we can't tell you if there's going to be Hall H panels till a week before." Ooh, that's a
Yeah.
little, yeah, and like another con I want to go to would be Power Morphicon, but now I
Mhm.
got to wait a couple years to get to that, obviously. So it's going to be a while, but yeah, that would honestly worry me, like especially if you're paying for that ticket. no
yeah, like
guarantee. Yeah, that's
it's like I paid for this, and it's like I'm trying to get a cosplay together. Like example, like I don't know, Captain Phasma, and it's like,
Mhm.
is Gwendolyn gonna be there? We don't even know. It's like, oh yeah, we'll announce it like the week of or something. It's like, oh jeez.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're trying to do a Captain Phasma. How much is that to put together, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know at the moment. I mean, I did it years ago, made of EVA foam, and
Yeah.
that went terribly. Like a lot of people tell me, no, you did great. Like, dude, I used an inch and a half thick foam by accident, and I just
Oof.
like I couldn't move.
Yep.
That midsection torso armor that troopers wear, I couldn't even put that because the chest armor was too thick.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about getting the armor parts like 3D printed at
Hmm.
least. So it's going to be a bit cheaper. And I'm not going to go for 501st quality because there's no way I could
No.
meet those
Yeah, yeah.
standards at all. But I'm going to guesstimate probably with, well, I already have her blaster rifle done. I have her cape done from the last time I did it. Um, Coming up with the belt should be easy. It's a belt.
Yeah.
But all the armor, I'm going to guesstimate 200 for the printed set.
Yeah.
A raw print. I'm gonna paint it myself, so I don't need to go to a vacuum chroming
Right.
place.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I'll get it as close as possible to the chrome that I can.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, if you cut some corners and do your own thing and not have to go the top, yeah, you can definitely cut it. That's pretty awesome. I know, like, Phasma was one of those characters that always gets, like, of course, sequel character gets hatred or something Disney.
Yeah.
I've been working for a while on put together a Rogue One Jin Urso, the main character, because I like her
Hmm.
character. I have her hot toy, and I'm like, I want to do her gender bend because nobody ever cosplays Jin, so nobody will care. And even if
Yeah.
they care, what are they gonna say? I'm a Star
Hmm.
Wars fan. I already got to tell them Rey's my favorite character, and I'll get all the hate I want. So like, being Jin will just be another thing on top of that. So it's like I'm kind of like piecing out, the pieces, and currently I'm working on a my own spin on like a Boba Fett. It's gonna have like the dented armor and dented look, but I want to do like a different undersuit. So, but it's fun, because you can always
Hmm.
bend it a little to your own thing and kind of make it your own individual, which I think fits the whole idea of cosplay.
Yeah. You do what you
Individuality.
want.
Exactly, exactly. Yep, that's fun.
Yeah. Like oh, and speaking going back to Star Wars Celebration, I was initially gonna be Darth Revan, but ever since the remake announcement, I'm like, I can already predict that there's gonna be a legion of Revans. I was like, no.
It's like Halloween 2016, a Harley Quinn as far as you could see. It was like, is anybody not Harley Quinn? Raise your hand. There was like one hand in the distance.
It's just a Spider-Man cosplay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Uh,
man. It's that Homer Simpson meme in the bar. It's like
yep,
Star Wars Celebration 2022, Darth Revan
yep.
everywhere.
It's only got to get worse the closer it gets to the game. So it's
Ooh,
it's yep
yeah.
how it is though.
Hmm. And
Oh,
so for cosplays, what is your dream project from any fandom?
that might be honestly probably like the toughest question because like I like so many things and there's so many like characters I really just love, but if I had to say, it wouldn't even really be like, oh, I want to do this, all the time. I would just like to piece it together. Would probably be like something from Back to the Future, maybe like a Marty McFly's Back to the Future 3 cowboy outfit or something. Just because
Nice.
I love that film. And I got most of the pieces to do his Back to the Future 2. I got the jacket, the hoverboard, the boots, and everything. But part 3, I don't think gets enough love. And I love cowboys and old westerns. So
Hmm.
to me, having that outfit, something just out of the norm, that's just like one of them. But generally, I'm like, it is what it is. If I have a dream project or a project, I'll try to put it together and do something. Like, I wouldn't mind having like a screen accurate, like everything to be fully screen accurate, like, Punisher from Netflix or something, because I love that jacket. But again, it's like, that's a couple pieces, right? Oh, blue jeans, military boots, it's like, it's not a whole lot. So it's like individual pieces, I guess, is more like my dream thing. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Uh,
And to add to that, is there a specific prop that you prefer to like have in hand, even when you're not at a convention. You just want to just put it on. It's like, yeah, this is the favorite thing that I have.
Um, honestly, there's just occasionally moments where there'll be people at the house or like we're having a barbecue or something, and I'll be like, "Hey guys, I gotta go to the bathroom," and I'm just like walking by. I'm like, "Man, that Daredevil mask." So I just take this mask and put it on, and I just walk out there like, "Oh, there he is again with his Daredevil mask." I just like I love that, or my Magneto helmet or something. I'll toss that on because people are like, "Oh, they know I'm a giant Magneto fan." So like, that might be another one of those things. Like Magneto's outfit is screen accurate from one of the films would probably be it. But yeah, it's like there's a couple items like that. I like to just keep around and like they're cool, right?
Mhm.
It's nice to have or just kind of pick up and look at it. But like, I own this. It's yeah. You probably have some items like that as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely probably gonna be my Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII. Like
time,
this thing is massive and heavy.
time to go grocery shopping. Buster Sword. Oh,
Oh man. So yeah, a dream project of mine though, if I was able to even afford it, would probably be a screen accurate to my size and a height of the Xenomorph from the first Alien movie.
my God. Yeah.
Which
Yep.
is weird because it's like it's more scarier because it's like you have to look up at the thing, but then instead you're gonna be looking down at it because I'm freaking tiny.
Right. Yeah, because the dude in that suit was pretty large, and then like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it was close to 7 feet
yeah, and he was real
plus the
tiny
suit.
too. Yep.
Like
That's
that guy was lanky as all hell.
hmm
But
yeah,
yeah, so what I learned is that the head is not actually in the skull area, it's the neck.
right.
And then they have the headpiece on. I was like, geez, so that's adding like a half a foot. It should be okay for me.
Right. And also I can't imagine that weight, like how much that would be unless you built it
All the
as
latex rubber.
yeah, that would be honestly, that's such a cool thing too. Like my dad's a huge Alien fan. It's his favorite franchise of all time. So like yeah, seeing some of those Alien things, because every year I buy him a bunch of Alien stuff and like their little action figures and stuff, and I look at them like, oh, Alien was a flaming rhino in a comic book, I guess. Okay, that's kind of cool. So like, yeah, it's cool to always find people that want to cosplay something out of Alien, because typically you'll see
Mhm.
predators, but not xenomorphs. Not
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think it's mostly because I think the biggest challenge with that is the head. It's like, how am I going to see?
Yep.
And I think that the original H.R. Giger design with the clear dome and you could see like no eye sockets in the skull, you can kind of cheat that way and then
hmm
have your head inside there and you'll be able to see compared to like the other ones where it's like the fully solid dome.
Yeah.
And it's like, shoot, how are you going to see?
Yeah, no, that's a great design. I mean, the Xenomorph guy, it's AG's one of his greatest designs. Like you
Mhm.
look back on his influence on cinema, and you look at stuff today, you see Alien in so many places. Like you don't get away from his design. So yeah, that would honestly be something that now that you mention it would be on my bucket list. Just to have like that suit though, like or a statue or something. I would if I was rich.
Yeah. Like
Oh.
since you said that's like, yeah, I don't think I would do that to myself to put a statue of something of a horror icon in a room. You flip on the light, oh geez, oh it's just the statue
Well,
again.
when my dad years ago he used to do landscaping and stuff and he was hired to do like work on this dude's house and it was like a friend of his so like he went there like he knew this guy he worked with before and the dude's a huge movie buff and my dad brings back photos and he goes you won't believe what we just got to put down in his room. So this dude had like an entire granite floor and everything installed for this giant room and they were like what are you going to use this for and he was like oh I'm just going to display a couple of the movie collectibles I have. Okay, life-size recreation of the original Xenomorph, original
Ooh.
Predator, and Arnold from Terminator 2 that legitimately looked like wax. Like you could touch his face and he was like, it literally felt like a human. And he had all three
Oh
of them. And the guy
wow.
was like, yeah, each one was like 20 grand or something to commission. I was like, oh,
Oh, my
yeah.
wallet.
Yeah. I mean, the dude was like, he was also a landscaper and like sold his company. So he had like,
Mm,
retiring in his 50s,
Wow.
millions of dollars that he sold his company for. So he was like, what am I going to do? Collectibles of movies I grew up on. And it's like, bro, that thing, like just seeing
That's the
that.
dream.
Yeah. Like I've always said, if I ever get filthy rich, the first thing I'm going to do is wherever I buy a house, the entrance is going to be the Stargate from Stargate. And you're going to have to dial in a
Nice.
chevron to come in because I'm a nerd. So you have to go through the Stargate.
Nice.
Uh,
Oh man, that's one of my goals too. It's like just to have a room dedicated to something, but figuring out what that fandom is going to be
yeah.
is the tough part.
Oh, it is because, us as nerds, we like so many things.
hmm
Yeah.
I give props to people who could just dedicate a room to just Star Wars, for example.
Yeah.
It's like you have a whole basement built just for Star Wars. Wow.
You see that a lot on TikTok. People are like, check out
I
my
know.
collection, and it's like 4 rooms just loaded with like Star Wars. You're like,
And they're
whoa,
like people our age. I'm like, how? What did
yeah,
you do?
yeah. Oh, what NFT or Ponzi scheme are you a part of that
No.
I need to get on to be at your level?
Which variant of the chimp NFT do I need to sell people?
Damn those NFTs.
It's glow in the
Oh,
dark. It's worth billions.
it's true. It's true.
Oh
Craziness.
man. Freaking NFTs. Sheesh. Man, so many voice actors that I know are starting to do that. I'm like, I don't agree with this, but I still love your work. But and I see
Yeah.
their the comment section, like, oh, this is bad.
Hmm.
It's like people. If you don't agree with the NFTs, that's fine. Don't threaten the talent actors because of it.
Yeah, that's
Oh
exactly. That's like
gosh.
going too far. Sometimes like it's them, but they're doing it at the request of their PR and their managers and
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's so much more depth to it because sometimes they
hmm
don't even know what they're doing. Sometimes you're like, why did this actor sign on to this terrible film? Well, it's because their agent figured they could score him a $5 million deal, and the actor didn't even look at the script. It's
hmm
sometimes you got to take them out of it. But then there's obvious celebrities that know what it is, like Paris Hilton, like shilling that schlock. You're like, she knows what she's doing. Like,
hmm
it's a Ponzi scheme. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Oh man. All right, dude. So I just want to say thanks for the time coming in for my podcast. And again, it was great talking to you again.
Yeah. And the thing is, upcoming, there's going to be plenty of MCU content. So whenever you feel the need to come on to the CBC proper and nerd out over something, and again, we've talked about because I want to personally do a Amazing Spider-Man 1 re audio commentary. And I'm like, if there's one person that I know could offer a fanboy perspective on this one, it's probably you.
Yep.
The TASM fan. So it's like, I'll keep you in mind, and when I can schedule that in, I'd love to have you on. I think the fans would enjoy that as well. It's like, oh, perspective for somebody that genuinely loves these films. That's always great. It's like everybody loves different things, so it'd be fun.
Yeah. Where were all these people back in 2012 and 2014?
Gone.
It's like, I knew I was right about Andrew. Sure you did. Sure you did.
The good Spider-Man. He was a good Peter Parker
He
Spider-Man. I'll
was.
give it to that.
And he was a bit more insulting as Spider-Man too, throwing
No.
shade at people.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, Armin. Have a good one, man.
Thank you.
Yep.